So, sadly, yet again, I have managed to mess up some sort of recording. So this entire video is just going to be a voiceover of me over top of this challenge run that I just recorded. Well, I just recorded the first part of it, so hopefully this doesn't happen for the whole rest of the thing, because that would be kind of sad. Just wanted to make an intro here to just kind of welcome everybody who's here to watch the video, because me and my friends just made this new channel just for something fun to do. We all like watching random funny clips and stuff, so it just made sense to me that this would be something that would be fun to do. I've been trying to convince everyone for a while to kind of just go ahead and make a channel where we all post, because none of us really post anything on our channels. Like, we upload a video every great once in a while, or I had a channel with my one friend Forrest where we would just do Dark Souls challenge runs, because I really like playing Dark Souls. All three of them, really. I guess two I wasn't the biggest fan of for a while, but it's pretty much my favorite series of games, so it's just fun for me to play through over and over again and just do weird, funny challenges in. So that's kind of what's gonna be on this channel first. I figured the only thing that I'll probably upload on my own, or maybe a couple challenge runs like this. Other than that, it's just gonna be like funny multiplayer videos of us playing things like Overwatch or Call of Duty, because we've kind of gotten into the new Call of Duty a little bit. But yeah, I went to record this first part, and as soon as I finished it, I went to check it to make sure everything was okay. And of course, I messed up the audio by not powering on my mic. And that made me feel really dumb. But I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just the first part. It's basically just me fighting Gundyr and then killing the katana wielding NPC that's around the first bonfire. I don't really remember what he's called. But as you can see here, I just kind of went in and made a character. I made my character named Mart because for whatever reason, that has been the name given to me in Discord now for something I did. I'm not sure at all what I actually did to cause myself to be called Mart, but it's really annoying. And now my name in this is Mart too. The whole premise of this challenge run here was just trying to do something challenging without it being like too ridiculous and over the top, because the only challenge runs I've ever done before, they've all been strength only builds, because that was something that we thought would be funny, only leveling up strength and just leaving all of our other stats at their base. And that was hard at times, but not really too much of a challenge, so I thought I could do something else, but nothing too crazy. And the consensus after talking to some people was, for whatever reason, me use the Clerics Candlestick in my offhand only. So yeah, that's what this build's gonna be. As you can see here, I just messing around with character creation. I tried to make him look pretty weird. I kind of went out there because it's challenge run. It's not something I'm taking seriously at all. That's just not how I like to play Dark Souls. I like to mess around a lot and just have fun. So there's anything that you guys would want me to add to this, like if there's any random things, like maybe not being able to use any armor, or being able to only level up certain stats, or not being able to level up stats at all, just let me know that in the comments. Just tell me what you want me to do, because like I said, this is for fun. Like, I'm open to suggestions. I'm not saying like it's a guarantee I'll do something if it's too ridiculous, but it's for fun. Like, I'm not gonna get too mad at it. I'm gonna get mad at times, but I'm not gonna get seriously mad at it. Oh god, here's me making my character as bright as humanly possible. I thought Mart, I guess I related that to Bart too much, and I just went for that bright color. And then the hair, it just gets worse from here. I guess I really just want this channel to be somewhere where I can make videos that I would actually want to watch, if that makes sense. Like, I don't like to watch traditional playthroughs of games, so it's not something that I'm ever going to make unless it's a game I'm really, really into and people want to see it. but it's just not fun for me to just sit there and play through a game while recording. Like I feel like it puts too much pressure on it. It's just too much hassle. Whereas this, like, I'm not taking it seriously at all to begin with. So it's just fun, and it's fun to watch back. Like, I will actually watch these back with people and like laugh at them because there's good clips from some of these videos that we've done before on the old channel that we had. Basically my goal is maybe to put out a video every week or two myself, and that's where the whole a bunch of us being on this channel thing comes in, because putting all of us on one channel together is going to give a chance for content to kind of constantly be uploaded, even though none of us are uploading consistently, if that makes sense. So on this channel, it's going to be me, Matt, my friend Forrest, my friend Josh, my friend George, and my friend Jordan. I'm not sure what everybody is going to contribute yet, or what everybody wants to do, because we haven't really talked about it too much. We kind of took a while to even agree on a name for the channel, Night Owls, because there used to be this chat that we were all in called Owl with a Sword, and everyone thought that was too long of a name, and there's a bunch of other random names that we thought through. Some were really dumb, some were just funny, some were just like stupid puns. And over time we just kind of came to the conclusion that Night Owls was a good enough name for us. We liked it, so we just stuck with that. As I was saying, I want to kind of make content that's not like trying too hard to be funny or anything, but that's just fun clips, like fun moments that happen while we're playing, or just us doing things that we enjoy. So it's never going to be anything forced. It's never going to be anything we don't enjoy, because we don't want to just like burn ourselves out doing stuff that's not fun when this isn't something we're trying to make into like a career or something. So I think my idea for our videos together, beyond the whole Dark Souls thing, is to kind of do something where everybody records their own perspective, and then after recording their perspective, I somehow get that from them, which is going to be a challenge, because getting whole raw video files sent to you or uploaded to you takes some time, especially since some of us don't have the best of internet. But I thought it would be a really cool concept for us to do certain like multiplayer games where we kind of like switch through different people's perspectives to make it a little more cinematic. Kind of give it a different perspective than you would normally get while watching someone's videos of them playing multiplayer. I know it's not like it's something no one's done before, but it's something that like it's one of my favorite things that creators can do, is when they kind of go through different people's perspectives while they're all playing the same game. And I think my idea to start that is going to be in the new Call of Duty. None of us have really liked Call of Duty much in the past, especially like more recent ones, but we really do like the Battle Royale mode that's in the newest one, even though most of us don't even like Battle Royale games. But Blackout has been really good, and it's been a lot of fun, so I think that would be something that's really interesting to show different people's perspectives, especially like when something exciting in the game is happening, when there's some sort of fight happening and maybe one or two of the people aren't even in it, then we don't really need their perspective anymore. Like if I'm not currently fighting someone and someone else is, I'll edit it in so that you see their perspective for that time, which might be a challenge to actually pull off, but I think that'll be something pretty cool in the end. Honestly, other than that, I'm not really sure what else we're going to do. Those seem like the only like two types of videos I'm really interested in making right now. It's just a couple of challenge runs through the different Dark Souls games maybe, and just funny multiplayer games. Probably Call of Duty, Rainbow Six Siege, and Overwatch. Maybe Gears of War 4 if anybody wants to see that. Gears of War is, other than Dark Souls, my favorite game series. Not really so much for the story or anything, even though it doesn't. I feel like Gears of War doesn't have the best of stories, or it's a little too like action packed, over dramatic. But definitely like an more arcadey type shooter because it's all about movement, and that's what's fun about it to me. The multiplayer is what I really love to play, and that's something that I'm also willing to play at any point in time. If people want to see that, it would mainly just be multiplayer videos on there too, because I do have some friends that play that. It's honestly just gonna be a lot of those games, unless people have suggestions or we run into anything else that we're like excited to make a video, like actually record us playing, because I think the whole reason I prefer to record multiplayer stuff usually is because I don't like it when it becomes a hassle and when I'm trying too hard to record stuff. So recording multiplayer stuff is just like, other than the editing part, which might obviously, if I'm doing different people's perspectives, will still take a little bit of time, but regardless, like I'm not actively trying to be someone I'm not or something, or like play up a character or something. I'm just being me with my friends playing a game, having fun. So it's fun to watch back. It's fun to see those funny moments that we have and all those different clips that we get out of it. That's pretty much going to be it for the YouTube side of things, I think. I'm not really too worried about making anything other than that. On top of that, I'm thinking whenever we do these games and whenever I do these different parts for the challenge run, I'm also going to stream them when I record them so that I can have people watch those live on Twitch from our channel, which is the_owl_nights on Twitch. And then whenever I'm done recording, basically just take that and also upload it. I just think that'll be kind of a interesting thing to do so that people can also watch it live before it's edited or cut down or anything. Which for the challenge runs, by the way, I'm not the type of person who loves sifting through hours and hours of video just to make it a little bit better. The whole perspective thing is a cool idea for the blackout videos. That's a little bit different. That's like, there's actually something rewarding coming out of it. Whereas Dark Souls, the challenge run, like, it's going to be very minimal editing, I feel, because it's just not worth it to go through hours and hours of video to edit out so much stuff when it's a challenge run. Like, I feel like I'm not doing much to waste time. Maybe if I fight a boss a million different times, like obviously I'm going to cut that down some, but it's a challenge run. Most of the funny stuff that's happening is me failing at things. So people want to see that, and that's what I want to watch back. That's what I'm going to find funny, is me being horribly bad at the game trying to do a challenge run. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the channel, so I'm just going to go ahead and talk about kind of my thoughts on this challenge run so far and kind of what I hope to make out of it. So, as you could probably see, because by now in the video we're probably at a point where I'm fighting Gundyr, I did pretty miserable at the beginning of this playthrough. I got trashed by Gundyr quite a few times. It wasn't pretty. I forgot how difficult he can actually be if you let the fight go on for too long. Because I remember fighting him so many different times and just breezing through it. I don't remember there ever being a time where it took me more than maybe 2 tries to beat him. And here it probably took me, I don't know, like 10, 11, 12, something like that. Maybe not that high, but I think it was around that high. It's just, I don't know. I feel like you normally only have to dodge him for a little bit, and you kill him so fast because he takes so much damage. But it's so tedious when you have to dodge his attacks over and over and over again. It was that backswing on his like wide slashes every single time it would hit me at the end, and I would get so frustrated. It was so annoying, and there was like nothing I could do about it until I realized all I had to do was spam roll. Because if you just start spam rolling in this game for whatever reason, you're like invincible. At least against most attacks. AoE usually gets you no matter what, but I would go right through that slash by just rolling 3 times in a row, and it felt so bad doing it because it's like not skillful at all. But at one point I just realized that was what was working for me, and I was doing so bad against him. I'm thinking for this challenge run, I'm gonna just stick to the candlestick, the Clerics Candlestick in my left hand, obviously, just using my offhand only. I'm gonna allow myself to punch because, you know, punches don't really do much. Maybe I can land a stagger on someone if I throw in a punch or something. Something funny can happen. So I figure it's worth just letting me do it. It's not really a big deal, I don't think. Um, Armor. I'm gonna allow myself armor, I think, under like a certain percentage of defense. I don't want anything that's actually going to help me that much. Mostly just things that either look funny or have some weird effect or something. Shields. I'm not gonna use any shields, at least for the foreseeable future, unless something like absolutely destroys me over and over and over and over again, and a shield somehow benefits me. Then maybe I'll use one, but in Dark Souls 3, I don't really think you get much of a benefit from a shield anyway. I never really played through using one much. I think pretty much every time I played through, no matter what build I was using, I just kind of rolled to dodge everything or parried. There wasn't really ever a need for me to use a shield. They just didn't seem that good in this one. Yeah, this is just gonna be pretty miserable probably. I learned quick that this thing doesn't do as much damage as I thought it would. It does a little bit more now. I did allow myself to level up just the 2 levels I needed in faith and dexterity to be able to wield this weapon properly, because as you could see, like at the beginning when I go to fight that crystal lizard, I can't even hit it. Each of my hits just bounces off of it because I have no proficiency with this weapon. So now that I can actually use it, I'm hoping that I can actually kill things. One thing I haven't decided yet is whether I'm actually going to let myself level up the weapon or not. I guess it just depends if I see I have to, or if I think I can actually get past without doing it. Because like I said, I'm no expert at challenge runs. I've just done a few that are kind of hard, and it's just fun for me. So I don't want to make it too easy. So don't worry about me ever making it too easy for myself. But if it gets to the point where I absolutely can't do something, then I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to let myself level the weapon up at least. As for my other stats, I don't think I'm going to level anything else up except maybe oh god, I can't remember off the top of my head what gives you more stamina, because really I do need to be able to dodge a ton, since I'm not going to have any armor that's actually useful or any shield or anything, and actually getting enough swings with this thing to do any damage is going to take me a little bit, so I need to make sure I have enough stamina to keep rolling. As you can see in the Gundyr fight, like it was rough. Back before I even could level it up to be the proper level to fight, proper level to use the weapon right, I was hitting him for 24, and he's usually a boss that takes a lot of damage. 24 did a little chunk on him at least. Most bosses that probably wouldn't have even done anything to, and that would have just been a miserable fight that I would have never finished. It felt like it took me forever to beat him, but I guess it wasn't really too long for what I was doing. For how long it's been since I played Dark Souls 3, and for what I'm doing here, I guess it wasn't all that bad. You can see he just like goes crazy on me. Like I can't. For the longest time, I couldn't figure out how to dodge him anymore when he's so easy. I just kept getting hit by that backswing because I wasn't rolling far enough away from him. I wasn't spam rolling like I needed to. That one made me mad though. That one right there, where that was nowhere near me. He slashed nowhere near me, and it killed me still. I'm also still trying to think what other items I'm allowed to use or anything. I'm really thinking just sticking to the candlestick only should be fine. I don't remember a point in the game where I would absolutely need to use another sort of weapon for anything. So I guess we'll come to that whenever an issue actually arises. But I think we're good for now. For a little bit I thought it wasn't going to be possible because of how bad I was doing against Gundyr, but I do eventually beat him. And also defeat the NPC outside of the bonfire that has the katana. He sucked as well because most of his hits one-shot me. And that just wasn't a good time for me. Another thing is I'm probably going to back to more of the channel stuff because I just remembered something that I completely forgot to talk about. Um, I do already have the entire video for our first Dark Souls strength only playthrough through Dark Souls 1. And that I will be moving over to this channel once I download it all from the old one because I don't have it saved to my computer locally anymore. I'm going to download that all from the other channel, so it might not be the best of quality, but hopefully it should still be good enough and the sound should be all right and everything. There were a couple parts in that got messed up as well, but I'm not a professional and I'm going to try to get better at this as I go so that you guys actually have some, good quality video to watch and some decent sounding audio, hopefully. Those videos were kind of like my first real playthroughs I ever did. The Dark Souls 1 was the only one I've actually ever finished on YouTube. And that was a pretty fun one to play through. It was definitely interesting. The game kind of got progressively easier as we went through and then kind of stopped getting progressively easier and got insanely hard once we started getting to boss fights. I found that doing strength only, you get a lot more damage, obviously, when you're using a club, because we played through the game with a club, but it makes normal enemies a lot easier, but not bosses. Bosses are a completely different story. Because once we got to things like Ornstein and Smog, we probably spent 8 or 9 hours of playing to beat them, and I ended up beating them on my own in the end of it all, because we just couldn't do enough damage fast enough. We would hit for one big chunk, but then we'd instantly, even though we're not even trying to go for a second swing, we would get nearly one shot by their counterattack because the club was just too slow. And the other one that was a big problem for us definitely was the the Four Kings, I believe. It was just one of those boss fights where you have to rush, you have to beat them fast. And we did do a lot of damage, but he also has some wide swings and some swings that hit you through the follow through. So sometimes you have to roll pretty far away from him and then get back in close to him to hit him again. So it was really hard to beat him fast enough to actually be able to keep going without having more spawn on you, because they do progressively spawn, and if you don't kill one fast enough, now you're fighting two. If you don't kill two fast enough, now you're fighting three at once. You don't kill three fast enough, now you're fighting four at once. And that was miserable when we were trying to do that. That made that boss fight like hell for us. It was horrible. And then once we got to Dark Souls 2 with that same kind of concept, we did a second series where we started playing Dark Souls 2 strength only, and that one was very, very rough for both of us when we first started, because Dark Souls 2 is just a clunky, slow game. It's something that I've come to like a lot more now that I got used to it and comfortable with it again, because honestly, the first time I ever played through it, back when it came out, I didn't notice, even though I had just played Dark Souls 1 that the same year. It was the first time I played Dark Souls 1. I didn't realize, I don't know, it didn't feel clunky to me back then. It didn't feel weird. It didn't feel slower than the other games. It didn't feel harder to roll through attacks. But when you go back and play it after playing Dark Souls 2 after playing Dark Souls 1 and 3 only a ton, you realize, wow, this game is slow and not responsive compared to those. And it made it horrible starting a strength-only playthrough. For us, I'd say probably, the first, 3 or 4 bosses it took us to get, somewhat comfortable again. I remember us really learning a lot and getting better with the mechanics while fighting the Lost Sinner. Because while fighting the Lost Sinner, we died so many times over and over again. And we would die so fast before we'd even get to fight him. Because he just is a fast boss. And you swing a club slow to begin with in the Dark Souls games. And in that Dark Souls specifically, you swing your club very, very slow. So it's just not easy fighting him in that one. Fighting with a club in that one. But the nice thing was, Dark Souls 2, for whatever reason, the leveling system is so much different. It takes way less souls to level up. Or maybe you just get more souls, but I think it's the other way around. I think it just takes way less souls to level up. So we were already at 99 strength. I feel like when we weren't even all that far into the game, and that playthrough we are still currently doing. I believe the last thing that we did was beat the Duke's Deer Freya after we hadn't played in a pretty long time. That's kind of got me interested in taking the challenge run part of things a little more seriously. Not like actually taking them more seriously, but trying to record them a little bit higher quality, so I have something like fun that I'm making and able to watch. So that will come over to this channel as well with this video. But like I said, the whole point for this is so that I can put out content more consistently, so that our channel actually has some substance to it. Because my friend Forrest and I have very, very different schedules. I only work 4 days a week since I work more hours, so I do have a good bit of time that I have to record on the weekends, but he works a completely different shift than me. He works weird hours and weird days, and usually works a bunch of days in a row and then has a bunch of random days off in a row. So it's really every great once in a while where we actually get together and get to record. So parts of that, at like the best for a while, we were doing maybe like a part a month. So that's really why we needed a channel like this where we have a bunch of different people playing. I'm hoping that we can get Forrest to do a challenge run of either Dark Souls 1, 2, or 3 on here as well at the same time as me, so you guys have even more stuff to watch. On top of that, we could even do challenge runs through other games if we ever got interested in it, or if you guys wanted to see something like that. One of our passions that we both share, which is what made us good friends, is we both like playing older games, at least to an extent. I think Forrest is a lot more into retro games than I am because he really loves platformers and stuff. There's really only certain older games that I love to play, but still, that still translates into us being able to make other like funny challenge runs, because honestly, most older games are challenging, at least for people from our generation. For whatever reason, Forrest is a lot better at retro games than me, even though it's something I'm into. Like, I still feel like I'm definitely really bad at all of them, especially platformers. And it's just something to do with growing up playing mostly PlayStation 1 and beyond, because it's just so weird for me to use older controllers and to adapt to the older controls after using a controller with analog sticks strictly like my entire life. The only older console I really played when I was younger was the Genesis every once in a while, and we only really played that at my grandma's house to play hockey, so put like NHL 96 or something like that on it, so wasn't really the same as playing a platformer. Didn't really have to react as fast and everything. So it's another possibility for us to go in that direction with the channel. Even like do videos of us like showing off different games, reviewing different old games, reviewing newer games, showing off different technology we have, showing off new technology when we get it, reviewing it for you guys, and showing it off to you guys. There's a ton of different nerdy things that we're both interested in and that my other friends are interested in too, so that'll hopefully be something that comes to this channel. I'm not the biggest fan of anime and manga, but there are a couple anime that I do really like, and there's a couple manga that I really, really like. When it comes to like American comics, there's a couple comics like The Walking Dead. I guess it's not really American comics necessarily. I don't know if all of these were made in the US. That was kind of dumb of me to say, but traditional comics, I guess you can call it, even though some of them aren't superhero comics. But I really like the Walking Dead comic series. I'm not as into the show anymore because, you know, obviously they've done some dumb things in the show that a lot of people don't like, that were fan of the that are fans of the comics. I really like Saga. That's something that I'm really interested in. A couple other Image comics I've started to read and just never really got into too much or finished, but it seems like Image is kind of like the publisher of comics that I lean towards. I don't really have anything against superhero comics or DC or Marvel. It's just something I was always into, the cartoons and like the movies as kids and the figures and stuff, but I was never really much of a fan of those types of comics for whatever reason. I liked comics that weren't necessarily realistic but had realistic themes in them, where it wasn't just like nothing but happy endings. I liked, I guess, more violent anime and like comics and stuff for whatever reason. I don't really understand why, but I don't know, that's just what I liked. I guess it makes it easier for you to get behind a character and kind of support them whenever you're like fully rooting for them because something horrible has happened. On that note, that's kind of like the only manga I really read like consistently is Berserk, which is a manga where a lot of horrible things happen, and I think that's kind of like a representation of the type of stuff that I like in that sense. I like more realistic stuff like that. Like obviously none of it's realistic at all. There's a ton of like supernatural stuff in it, but it's, I don't know, there's parts of it, aspects of it that are like really realistic that I like. Other than that, just thinking of other possible things that'll be coming to the channel. There's a lot of other things we're interested in, like card games. I don't think the rest of the group really is necessarily, but Forrest and I both play Magic the Gathering a good bit. Forrest is mostly into EDH, and I am kind of like into a couple of different things. On Magic Online, I play some Pauper, and that's pretty much all I play on there. On MTG Arena, I play a couple of different standard decks because I think that the format's kind of fun right now, even though there are a couple decks that are a little overpowered at the moment. It's still a lot of fun for me. I still have a lot of fun playing on there. That could be videos, even just me playing on there, me showing you the decks that I play on there, the decks that I want, or me building different decks or trying out newer decks that no one else is really doing, just losing every game probably because I'm not the best deck builder, but it could still be funny or interesting to watch, I guess. Forrest has talked before about wanting to possibly do some sort of live videos of Magic, of our EDH games or something, which I guess if we got enough cameras or figured out some sort of elaborate setup, we could pull off if people are interested in seeing that. I guess this video, a lot of it, since obviously it was just going to be a challenge run video, but I figured I'd take the chance, like instead of just commentating over this video and pretending I'm commentating live or something, to just, introduce you guys to the channel and like what we're about and what potential things we want to do. So I guess just that's another thing. Just leave your suggestions. Like if you want to see us try to do some sort of live Magic videos with our EDH decks, because that's really the only one we can do live. My friend Joe and I, who isn't really part of this channel, but I guess possibly would be for the sake of playing Magic, because that's what he's most interested in, really. He has EDH, Modern, and Pauper decks, and so do I, but Forrest really only has EDH stuff. So it would pretty much only be EDH at the moment if you guys do want to see that. So that could be something interesting as well that we can do. Let's see. Beyond that, as for other things that we're interested in, well, at least I personally am interested in, and I know at least some of these guys are interested in, is just current technology and PC hardware and stuff. So even if you want to see videos on stuff like that, that could be something that we could get interested in getting more into, and getting more, I guess we're already into it, but getting more knowledge on, so that we're, bringing a solid foundation to that. We're not just making content just because you guys want to see it. Like we'll actually put effort into learning things better and understanding what we're talking about, and just covering, new things coming out or our thoughts on them. And I guess that kind of transitions into the fact that a podcast is something I've always wanted to do. Maybe like a bi-weekly or monthly podcast. We tried that before on the other channel that we did. Me, my fiance, and my friend Forrest all tried doing a podcast that we called 2.5 Nerds, which it'll probably keep that same name if it's just the three of us, because it makes sense. The name just fits that group of three pretty well. And we only ever made 2. We tried to make a third one. It didn't really go well, so we never uploaded it. But I guess it was It was interesting enough. The first two that we made, we just kind of talked about our favorite games, I believe, and then the second one was about our like personal favorite anime and what got us interested in it and how we grew up, like how we started watching it while growing up. And we could do more like that. We could do podcasts just talking about recent things that are happening in games, recent things that are happening in the different anime or manga or comics we're interested in. Really, whatever people want to see, whatever people will find fun and interesting, because we find all those things fun and interesting. So talking about any of them would probably be enjoyable for us because those things will just come up in our normal conversations. That's something we would normally just like discuss, like when something crazy happens on YouTube or something cool with involving gaming or technology happens, like we end up talking about it anyway. So doing a podcast where we just kind of like go over our thoughts on things like that week, like bi-weekly or monthly, like that could be something for sure. I feel like I'm just rambling at this point because this was a long ass video. And hopefully I can edit it down small enough that this fits in, because I don't really have much left to say here. Honestly, that's really it. Just, I hope you guys enjoy this channel. I hope people will find this funny to watch, because I want to make content that's just fun and funny to watch. I don't want to make anything too serious. I don't want to take myself or this channel too seriously. It's just something that we're doing for fun. It's primarily made just for us to have funny clips for all of us and all of our friends to watch. And that's what I hope for it to always stay.